afternoon. Today we're going to talk about data validation, or why web applications suck for usability. Let's look at a famous e-commerce website. You'll see they have a registration system asking users to enter lots of data. So let's just enter some data. You'll notice as we enter data there is no checking, there is no validation, nothing to check that I'm entering, for example, a correct zip code or even a correct phone number, even though these routines have been known to computer scientists for many years and are standard throughout all client-server applications in general. No wonder users don't like using these applications, because we give them no help entering data. It's almost like we've gone back to the bad old days of character terminals. We say continue after entering a mountain of data, and then it takes us back to the start of the screen and says enter all this data again. Then it tells us all that's wrong. It's a very boring, monotonous procedure and very inefficient system. Let's show you how for the Ajax Framework allows you to create applications that immediately validates the user and guides the user through the data entry process. Here we have 40 meetings, our standard 40 meetings application, with the 40 Ajax Framework already added. In this application we have lists of people. And what we want to be able to do here is to be able to validate that email addresses entered are correct and valid email addresses, and also that we have no duplicate email addresses in our system. So we have clean data. Making sure that data entered clean is a great way of making sure that you have valid data. So let's just go into our settings very quickly. And in the 40 Ajax Framework you have two ways of validating data. You can either call JavaScript code or 4D code. In this case we're going to use 4D code. And all we have to do here is on the onChange event, tell the 40 Ajax Framework we want to call 4D method. In this case it's called AA validate email. So when the email address field is changed, it will call this method to validate the data. So let's go back into our people's window. You'll see no change from before. Let's open up Johnny's Falcon, my good friend. Here. Drag that sheet window away. And let's enter some bad email addresses like bc.com. You're not allowed to have a space in an email address, as you well know. And not only was the data entry rejected, it was also came back with a reasonable error message that will guide the user. Let's try something different here. BC, I made a typo. Enter two at characters, sorry. It tells me now it's a customized message. You can't have two at signs in an email address. So very quickly and very easily we've shown you how you can add real functionality, real validation, immediate validation to your applications. We can also make sure our data is clean. So for example, we see up here we have bcoveney4d.com. So if we didn't want duplicate email addresses, let's try that. You can see email address entered is already in use. So not only are we making sure our data is clean, we're giving the user productivity, making them very efficient whilst using a web application. Let's have a quick look at the code. Here is our AA validate email. It's just a standard 4D method. And you can see here we just customize our message depending the way the data is entered. Very simple, very quickly. 4D Ajax Framework allows you to build applications that will make your users productive. And in fact, 4D Ajax Framework ensures your web applications will actually be used